I was in the Army. Was successful in the Army, and I came back home, and that's when I found out that I had depression and post-traumatic stress disorder from child abuse. I didn't know anyone else who also had a mental illness, so I was isolated. I worked at Mass General Hospital for 2 years, but then it got to the point where the medication was making it hard to concentrate, and so I ended up having to leave work, and then I couldn't pay my rent, and then I had no place to go, so I called my brother. Sorry, can't help you. Called a friend I knew my entire life. Sorry, can't help you. So for the first time I was homeless.
I'm a disabled vet. I'm honorably discharged. I'm a convicted felon about 14 years ago, recovering drug addict and an alcoholic, and I have full-blown AIDS. When you have a felony conviction, a lot of the local housing is denied to you.
But it was constant, drug dealers, drug situations, fist fights, and that was the. I was there for 6 weeks, and every night I was wondering if this was the night someone was going to rape me, kill me, or steal what little I had.
I was able to get an apartment in a really horrific place because all I could afford was probably $300 a month. It was like 9 stories up in a brick building, old Otis elevator. A lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, and it was really hard for me to stay sober in there.
I went to the VA. They said, we have homeless shelters for men, but we don't have homeless shelters for women. And I actually called a homeless shelter, and they said, sorry, you don't qualify. You weren't battered, you don't have children, and you're not pregnant, so can't help you. No one had told me, well, try this place. And it was just this, circle. Every place I tried said no. And the problem was that there was no network. No agency knew what the other agencies were doing, and they couldn't direct you to, oh, you need to go to this agency. In 8 years, I went from homeless to homeowner, and I actually bought a condo in Merrimack and sold that, and now I'm in Derry, but I own my own condo.
The VA pulled for me, the HIV task force, they got me some hopwa, and I'm able to get myself a nice little place now. It's right across the street from the group home. I get to visit with all my friends and buddies there, and they've given me a job. I'm able to afford a little bit more than macaroni and cheese too. They've given me some training with computers, so now I can do some data entry, and I do peer support with the homeless.
You need your basic needs first. You need a safe place, and these rooming houses are not a safe place. You need a safe place, you need food, money for food, shelter, and then you can think about getting a job or going back to school. If you get supportive housing, you also need supports, so you don't stay in an apartment for 2 months and then end up leaving because you're having either financial issues or you're just so depressed you can't pay your bills.
Supportive housing has allowed me to take better care of myself. My diabetes is getting under control. I'm eating better now that I have a nutritionist, which is provided to me. And I have medical care. I can see a doctor, some of them every month. My infectious disease doctor is every 3 months now that my T-cell count has gone from 12 to over 400.
There's 400 clubhouses throughout the world, and clubhouses is for adults with mental illness. It allows them, it gives them a place to go. It's kind of a family atmosphere, but the goal of clubhouses is either to get people back to work or back to school. It also helps with supportive housing. It helps with benefits, and also social and supports.
I'm very, very grateful for what has happened to my life here. For me personally, at first, It was a real struggle. But I've had so many people who have reached out to me and have offered me a hand up and not a hand out. And God bless the people at Connections and the HIV Task Force and the people over at Buckingham Place. My outlook on life is so much brighter. It really is great, you know. It's not like I got to get up and say, "Oh, another day." I say, "Wow, another day," and that's cool.